The night was cold and wet. Rain had been falling for hours, turning the streets of Seoul into rivers of reflected neon light. Park Do-yun stood behind the counter of a small convenience store, watching the empty street through the glass doors. It was almost 3 in the morning. No customers had come in for over an hour. Do-yun was 28 years old. He had been working the night shift at this store for almost 2 years now. It was not an exciting job, but it paid his rent and helped him support his younger sister through medical school. He was a simple man with a simple life, and he had accepted that long ago. He looked at the clock on the wall. Still 4 more hours until his shift ended. He sighed and decided to take out the trash. It was better than standing around doing nothing. The back door of the store opened into a narrow alley. Dumpsters lined one wall, and the smell of old food and rain filled the air. Do-yun dragged the heavy garbage bags across the wet ground and threw them into the nearest dumpster. He was about to go back inside when he heard something. It was a small sound, a whimper, like a wounded animal. Do-yun stopped moving. He listened carefully. The sound came again, from behind the largest dumpster at the end of the alley. He walked slowly toward it, his shoes splashing in the puddles. What he found made him freeze completely. There was a child hiding behind the dumpster. But this was not a normal child. Her skin was pale silver, almost like moonlight. Her hair was white and hung in wet tangles around her thin face. Her eyes were large and violet, with pupils shaped like diamonds. Along her arms, faint blue lines glowed softly, like tiny lights under her skin. She was not human. The child looked up at him with those strange purple eyes. She was shaking badly, whether from cold or fear, Do-hyun could not tell. She wore torn clothes that looked like they had once been expensive. Her feet were bare and covered in cuts. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Do-hyun's heart was pounding. He had seen science fiction movies. He had read stories about aliens. But nothing had prepared him for this moment. Nothing had prepared him for a real alien child, soaking wet and terrified, hiding behind a garbage bin in Seoul. The child opened her mouth. A small device attached to her collar flickered with light, and words came out in broken Korean. "Please," she said. Her voice was thin and scared. "Please, no hurt. Please!" Something in Do-hyun's chest tightened. He was not a brave man. He was not a hero. He was just a guy who worked at a convenience store. But looking at this child, this strange silver girl shaking in the rain, he did not see an alien. He saw a kid, a scared, hungry, lost kid. He crouched down slowly, trying to look less threatening. "Hey," he said softly. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." The girl watched him with wide eyes. She did not run. "Are you hungry?" Do-hyun asked. The girl's eyes got even wider. She nodded quickly, desperately. Do-hyun stood up and held out his hand. "Come with me. I have food inside. Warm food." For several seconds, the girl did not move. She stared at his hand like it was some kind of trap. Do-hyun waited. He did not push. He just kept his hand out, steady and patient. Finally, slowly, the girl reached out. Her small silver fingers wrapped around his hand. Her skin was cold, colder than a human's should be, but her grip was tight with need. Do-hyun led her inside through the back door. He sat her down on a plastic chair in the storage room and grabbed a clean towel from the shelf. He wrapped it around her thin shoulders. The girl clutched it like it was made of gold. "Wait here," he said. "I'll get you something to eat." He went to the front of the store and grabbed whatever he could find. Rice balls, cup ramyeon, some bread, a bottle of water. He brought it all back to the storage room and set it down in front of her. The girl stared at the food. Then she looked up at him, confused. "It's for you," Do-hyun said. "Eat." She did not need to be told twice. She grabbed the rice balls and ate them so fast that Do-hyun was worried she might choke. He made the cup ramyeon with hot water and gave it to her. She drank the soup and ate the noodles like she had not eaten in days. Maybe she had not. Do-hyun watched her eat. As she did, the towel slipped down her arm, and he saw something that made his stomach turn cold. There were marks on her wrists, red, raw lines that circled her skin. Restraint marks. Someone had tied this child up. Someone had kept her prisoner. The girl noticed him looking and quickly pulled the towel back up. Fear flashed in her eyes again. "Who did that to you?" Do-hyun asked quietly. The girl shook her head. Bad people, she whispered. Very bad people. Where are your parents? The girl's face changed. Pain and longing filled those violet eyes. Mother, she said softly. Mother is far, very far. What's your name? Lyra, the girl said. My name is Lyra. Do-hyun nodded. I'm Do-hyun, Park Do-hyun. Lyra looked at him with something like wonder. You give food, she said. You are kind. Why? Do-hyun did not know how to answer that question. Why? Because she was hungry. Because she was scared. Because she was just a child, no matter what planet she came from. Because you needed help, he said simply. Lyra stared at him for a long moment. Then slowly, tears began to fall from her violet eyes. They were silver, like liquid metal, and they rolled down her cheeks in quiet streams. Do-hyun did not know what to do. He was not good with crying, but he reached out and gently patted her shoulder. It's okay, he said. You're safe now. Nobody's going to hurt you here. He did not know if that was true. He did not know what he was getting into. All he knew was that he could not leave a scared child alone in the rain. He could not turn away from someone who needed help. His phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a message from his sister Soo-jin, asking if he could bring home some milk. He looked at the alien girl sitting in his storage room, eating her third cup of ramyun. He had a feeling that milk was going to be the least of his worries. Do-hyun made a decision. When his shift ended, he would take Lyra home. He would figure out the rest later. For now, all that mattered was keeping her safe and warm. He did not know that somewhere far above the earth, a ship had just detected a signal. He did not know that a hunter was already on her way. He did not know that in just a few hours his simple life was about to change forever. All he knew was that there was a hungry child in front of him, and that was enough. The sun was just beginning to rise when Do-hyun finally finished his shift. The rain had stopped, but the streets were still wet and shining. He walked out of the convenience store with Lyra wrapped in his jacket, her small hand holding tightly to his. She had fallen asleep in the storage room around 5 in the morning. Do-hyun had carried her to the back and let her rest on some cardboard boxes covered with towels. She slept like someone who had not rested properly in a very long time. Her breathing was slow and deep, and the glowing lines on her arms dimmed to almost nothing. Now she was awake again, walking beside him through the early morning streets. She kept looking around at everything with wide, curious eyes. The cars, the buildings, the few people walking to work. Everything seemed to amaze her. This world, she said quietly. Many people. Many lights. Yeah, Do-hyun said. This is Seoul. It's a big city. City, Lyra repeated like she was memorizing the word. Do-hyun's apartment was small, just 2 rooms, a tiny kitchen, and a bathroom. He shared it with his younger sister Soo-jin when she was not staying at the university dormitory. Today was Saturday, which meant Soo-jin would be home. He opened the front door slowly, hoping his sister was still asleep. He planned to hide Lyra in his room first and then explain everything later, but luck was not on his side. Soo-jin was standing in the kitchen making coffee. She turned around when she heard the door open. She was 24 years old with short black hair and sharp, intelligent eyes. She was studying to become a doctor, and she had the careful, observing nature of someone who noticed everything. Her eyes went from Do-hyun to the small silver figure standing behind him. The coffee cup in her hand almost slipped from her fingers. What? Soo-jin said very slowly. Is that? Lyra stepped back, fear crossing her face. Do-hyun quickly moved between them. Soo-jin, calm down, please. Let me explain. Explain? Do-hyun, there is a... Soo-jin could not finish her sentence. She just pointed at Lyra with a shaking finger. Her name is Lyra, Do-hyun said firmly. I found her behind the store last night. She was alone, starving, and scared. Someone had been keeping her prisoner. I couldn't just leave her there. Soo-jin stared at him like he had lost his mind. Then she looked at Lyra again. The alien girl was trembling, clutching Do-hyun's jacket tightly around her thin body. She looked small and helpless and utterly terrified. Something in Soo-jin's expression softened. She took a deep breath. Okay, she said slowly. Okay. Bring her inside. Close the door before the neighbors see. Do-hyun let out a breath he did not know he was holding. He gently guided Lyra into the apartment and shut the door behind them. The next hour was strange and tense. Sujin made Lyra sit on the couch while she examined her. Being a medical student, she could not help herself. She checked Lyra's pulse and found something amazing. She has two hearts, Sujin whispered. Two separate heartbeats. Lyra nodded like this was normal. All my people have two hearts. Is this not common here? Humans have one heart, Doyun said. Lyra tilted her head. Only one? How do you survive if it stops? We don't, Sujin said simply. Lyra's eyes went wide with something like pity. Your species is very fragile. Sujin continued her examination. She found that Lyra's blood was not red like human blood. When she made a tiny cut on Lyra's finger to test it, blue-green liquid came out. Lyra did not even flinch. Copper-based, Sujin muttered to herself, like some earth creatures. Octopus blood is blue too. She also noticed that Lyra's body temperature was much lower than a human's. What felt cold to Dohyun was actually normal for her species, and her metabolism was incredibly fast. That explained why she had been so hungry. She's malnourished, Sujin said finally. Her body is burning through energy faster than she can replace it. She needs to eat a lot, and often. I can make more ramyun, Dohyun offered. Lyra's eyes lit up at the word ramyun. Clearly, she had developed a taste for it. While Dohyun prepared food in the kitchen, Sujin sat down next to Lyra on the couch. The alien girl was still nervous, but she seemed less scared now. Lyra, Sujin said gently, can you tell us what happened to you? How did you end up on Earth? Lyra was quiet for a long moment. Her small hands twisted together in her lap. I was taken, she finally said. Bad people came to my homeworld. They killed my father. Sujin's heart ached at the pain in the girl's voice. They took me away, Lyra continued. They put me on a ship. They said I was leverage. They wanted to control my mother, to make her do things for them. Your mother? Dohyun asked from the kitchen. Who is your mother? Lyra's expression became complicated. Pride and fear and love all mixed together. My mother is Kale. She is a hunter, a killer, very famous, very dangerous. The bad people wanted to use me to control her. Dohyun and Sujin exchanged worried glances. An alien assassin did not sound like good news. How did you escape? Sujin asked. The ship stopped here, Lyra said. On this world, Earth. They said no one comes here. They said it was safe to hide. But they were careless. I found a way out. I ran. I ran for a long time until I found the place with the lights, the store, and then I found him. She looked at Dohyun with those violet eyes full of gratitude. He gave me food. No one has been kind to me since father died. Sujin felt tears prick at her eyes. She reached out and gently took Lyra's hand. You're safe here. We won't let anyone hurt you. Lyra looked at her with confusion. Why? You do not know me. I am not your kind. Why would you help me? It was a question that seemed to genuinely puzzle her. Like kindness from strangers was something she had never experienced before. Because it's the right thing to do, Sujin said simply. Lyra stared at her for a long moment. Then she said something that made both siblings pause. In the galaxy, humans are called primitives. Class 7 species. Not important. Not smart. Everyone ignores your world. But you are kind. The bad people who took me were Class 2. Very advanced. But they were never kind. Before either sibling could respond, Lyra spoke again, her voice dropping to a whisper. Mother will come. Mother always finds her prey. When she learns I am here, she will come. And that's good? Dohyun asked uncertainly. She's coming to rescue you? Lyra's face was hard to read. Mother will come, but she will also judge. She will look at anyone near me and decide if they are friend or enemy. If she decides enemy, Lyra drew a finger across her throat. The meaning was clear. Dohyun sat down heavily in a chair. Great. So an alien assassin is coming here, and she might kill us. Or she might thank you, Lyra said quietly. I do not know. Mother is complicated. Sujin stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the city below. Normal people going about their normal lives. They had no idea what was hiding in this small apartment. Well, she said finally, turning back to face them, if she's coming, we should make sure her daughter is healthy and happy when she arrives. That seems like the best way to stay alive. Doyun nodded slowly. It was a good point. More ramyeon? He asked Lyra. The alien girl smiled for the first time. It was a small smile, shy and uncertain. But it was real. Yes, please, she said. And so they waited. For a mother, for a hunter, for whatever was coming next. None of them knew that Kyle was already closer than they thought. Her ship had just entered Earth's atmosphere, invisible and silent, and she had locked onto her daughter's signal. The assassin was coming, and nothing would stop her. The day passed slowly in the small apartment. Outside, the city of Seoul continued its busy rhythm. Cars honked. People shouted. Life went on as normal. But inside those four walls, something extraordinary was happening. Lyra sat on the floor in front of the television. Her violet eyes were wide with wonder as she watched a cartoon about a small yellow creature with red cheeks. She did not understand everything that was happening on the screen, but the bright colors and funny sounds made her smile. Doyun watched her from the kitchen table. He had not slept all day, but he did not feel tired. There was too much happening, too much to think about. An alien child was sitting in his living room, watching cartoons and eating snacks like any normal kid. Except she was not normal, and neither was anything about this situation. Sujin came out of her room carrying a bundle of clothes. She had gone through her closet looking for anything that might fit Lyra. Most of her clothes were too big, but she had found an old sweater and some sweatpants that could work. Here, she said, kneeling down next to Lyra. These are for you. They're clean and warm. Lyra looked at the clothes with confusion. For me? You give these to me? Yes. Your old clothes are torn and dirty. You need something better. Lyra touched the soft fabric of the sweater. Her fingers traced the pattern carefully. This is a gift? You give gifts to strangers on your world? You're not a stranger anymore, Sujin said with a gentle smile. You're our guest. Something in Lyra's expression crumbled. Her eyes filled with silver tears again. She clutched the clothes to her chest like they were made of something precious. I do not understand, she whispered. I do not understand you humans. Sujin helped her change into the new clothes. The sweater was too long, hanging down past her hands, but Lyra seemed to love it. She kept touching the soft material and smiling. When she was dressed, Sujin sat behind her and began to gently comb her silver hair. It was tangled and knotted from days without care. Lyra sat very still, her eyes half closed. My father used to do this, she said quietly. Before he died, he would comb my hair every morning and tell me stories. What kind of stories? Sujin asked softly. Stories about the old times, about heroes and adventures, about how our people used to be different, kinder, before the wars changed everything. Doyun listened from his spot at the table. He was learning more about the galaxy through Lyra's small comments than any science fiction movie had ever taught him. What happened to your people? He asked. Lyra was quiet for a moment. War happened, many wars, for resources, for power, for survival. My people became hard. They had to become hard to live. Kindness became weakness. Trust became dangerous. Now everyone is always fighting, always hunting, always afraid. She looked at the television, where the cartoon characters were hugging each other. On your world, you show children this, she said, pointing at the screen. You teach them about friendship, about love, about helping others. On my world, children are taught to fight, to hide, to never trust anyone outside their blood family. Sujin finished braiding Lyra's hair into two neat braids. She tied them with small rubber bands. There, she said. Now you look beautiful. Lyra reached up and touched her braids. She turned around and looked at Sujin with those violet eyes. Why do you help me? She asked. You gain nothing from this. You risk much. If the bad people find out you have me, they will hurt you. If my mother thinks you are enemies, she will kill you. You know all this, but still you help. Why? Sujin thought about the question carefully. It was a fair question, a logical question, but the answer was not about logic. Because you needed help, she said simply. That's reason enough. Lyra shook her head slowly. In the galaxy, no one helps without expecting something in return. Everything is trade. Everything is bargain. Nothing is free. Maybe that's why the galaxy is so full of war and fear, Do-Yun said from the kitchen. Maybe if more people helped each other without expecting something back, things would be different. Lyra stared at him. She seemed to be really thinking about his words. You are strange, she said finally. Humans are very strange. But I think maybe strange is good. Do-Yun smiled. It was the first time he had smiled all day. Are you still hungry, he asked. Lyra nodded eagerly. Her fast metabolism meant she needed to eat almost constantly. Do-Yun went to the kitchen and started cooking. Not ramyun this time, but real food. Rice, soup, some vegetables. He was not a great cook, but he did his best. While he cooked, Sujin taught Lyra how to use chopsticks. The alien girl struggled at first. Her fingers were longer than human fingers, and they bent in slightly different ways. But she practiced again and again, determined to learn. When she finally managed to pick up a piece of food without dropping it, she let out a cry of joy. Sujin clapped and cheered for her. I did it, Lyra said happily. I did the chopstick thing. Do-Yun brought the food to the table, and they all ate together. It was a simple meal, nothing fancy, but Lyra ate it like it was the most delicious thing she had ever tasted. This is good, she said between bites. This is very good. What is this called? It's just rice and soup, Do-Yun said, embarrassed. Rice and soup, Lyra repeated carefully. I will remember this. When I go home, I will tell everyone about rice and soup. After the meal, Lyra started to get sleepy. Her body was still recovering from days of stress and hunger. Sujin made a bed for her on the couch using blankets and pillows. As Lyra lay down, she grabbed Sujin's hand. Thank you, she said quietly. Thank you for the clothes, and the hair, and the food, and the warm place. Thank you for everything. You're welcome, little one, Sujin said softly. Now sleep. You need rest. Will you stay? Lyra asked, her voice small. Will you stay until I fall asleep? I don't want to be alone. I've been alone for so long. Sujin sat down next to the couch and held Lyra's hand. I'm not going anywhere. None of us are. Lyra smiled and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep. Do-Yun and Sujin sat in the quiet apartment, watching the alien child sleep. The glowing lines on her arms pulsed gently with her heartbeats. Both of them. What are we going to do? Sujin whispered. We can't hide her forever. And what about this assassin mother? What if she really does come? What if she doesn't believe we're friends? Do-Yun looked at his sister. He saw the fear in her eyes. He felt it in his own heart, too. I don't know, he admitted. I really don't know. But we can't turn back now. We can't just throw her out. Look at her, Sujin. She's just a kid who's been through terrible things, a kid who's never known kindness from strangers until today. Sujin nodded slowly. I know you're right. It's just, I'm scared. Me too, Do-Yun said. But sometimes being scared doesn't mean you stop. Sometimes you just keep going anyway. They sat in silence for a while. The sun was beginning to set outside, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Somewhere far away, a shadow moved through the clouds, a ship that no human technology could detect, a hunter closing in on her prey. Kale had found the signal. She had found her daughter, and now she was coming to judge, coming to decide, coming to see what kind of creatures had taken in her child. The humans did not know it yet, but they were about to face the most dangerous test of their lives. And the only weapon they had was the kindness they had shown to a lost alien girl. Night had fallen over Seoul. The city lights glittered like stars that had fallen to earth. In the small apartment, everything was quiet. Lyra was still sleeping on the couch. Sujin had gone to her room to rest, exhausted from the strange day. Only Do-Hyun remained awake. He stood in the kitchen making a cup of tea. His hands were busy, but his mind was racing. He kept thinking about everything that had happened in the last 24 hours. The alien girl behind the dumpster, the scars on her wrists, the stories about war and cruelty across the stars. And somewhere out there, an assassin mother searching for her child. The tea was almost ready. Do-yun reached for a cup from the shelf, and then he felt it. It was not a sound. It was not a movement. It was something else. A feeling. A prickling sensation on the back of his neck. The ancient human instinct that warned of danger. The feeling of being watched. Do-yun turned around slowly. There was a figure standing in the corner of the kitchen. A figure that had not been there a second ago. A figure that had appeared from nowhere, silent as death itself. She was tall, taller than any human woman Do-hyun had ever seen. Her skin was silver like Lyra's, but darker, like polished metal. Her hair was long and white, pulled back in a severe style. Her eyes were gold, bright and burning, with pupils shaped like slits. She wore armor that seemed to be made of shadows. It absorbed the light around it, making her edges blur and shift. In her hand was a blade. It was curved and beautiful and terrifying. Blue energy ran along its edge, humming softly. Do-yun's heart stopped. His blood turned to ice. Every muscle in his body screamed at him to run, but he could not move. He was frozen in place by the sheer presence of this creature. This was Kale, the assassin, the hunter, the mother. She looked at him with those golden eyes. There was no warmth in them, no mercy, only cold, calculating judgment. "You," she said. Her voice was like silk wrapped around a knife. Beautiful and deadly at the same time. "Explain why my daughter smells of your dwelling. You have 10 seconds. Do-yun opened his mouth, but no words came out. His throat was tight with fear. 9 seconds, Kyle said. She took a step closer. The blade in her hand hummed louder. Do-yun forced himself to breathe. He had to speak. He had to explain. But his mind was blank with terror. 8 seconds. Think. He had to think. But how could he think when death itself was standing in front of him? 7 seconds. The blade rose slightly. Blue light reflected in Kale's golden eyes. 6 seconds. Do-yun found his voice. It came out weak and shaky, but it came. I found her, behind my store. She was alone. She was hungry. I fed her. Kyle's expression did not change. She continued counting. 5 seconds. That does not explain why she is here, in your home, wearing human clothing. She had nowhere else to go, Do-yun said. His voice was getting stronger now, fueled by something that might have been desperation or might have been courage. She was scared. She was hurt. Someone had been keeping her prisoner. I couldn't leave her on the street. 4 seconds. I didn't know she was an alien at first. I mean, I knew she was different. But she was just a kid, a scared, hungry kid. It didn't matter what she was. She needed help. 3 seconds. Kel was right in front of him now. He could smell something strange coming from her, like electricity and flowers and blood all mixed together. Her golden eyes stared into his, searching for something. 2 seconds. Do-hyun stopped talking. He had said everything he could say. Either she would believe him or she would kill him. There was nothing more he could do. 1 second. The blade touched his throat. It was cold, colder than ice. The blue energy made his skin tingle where it touched. Your time is up, Kyle whispered. Do-yun closed his eyes. This was it. This was how he died, killed by an alien assassin in his own kitchen. He thought about Sujin. He hoped she would be okay. He hoped Lyra would be okay. But the killing blow did not come. Instead, a small voice rang out through the apartment. Mother, no! Do-yun opened his eyes. Lyra was standing in the doorway of the kitchen. She was awake. She must have heard the talking. And now she was running toward them, throwing herself between Do-yun and Kyle. No, Mother! He saved me! He fed me! They both protected me! Please don't hurt them. Kyle's blade froze in place. She stared down at her daughter. Something changed in those cold golden eyes. Something softened. Just a little. Lyra, she breathed. My child. Lyra was crying. Silver tears rolled down her cheeks. She grabbed her mother's free hand and held it tightly. Please, Mother. Please. He is good. They are all good. They gave me food and clothes and a warm place to sleep. They braided my hair. They taught me to use chopsticks. They were kind to me. Please don't hurt them. Kyle stood very still. Her eyes moved from Lyra to Do-yun and back again. The blade in her hand slowly lowered, though she did not put it away. Chopsticks? She repeated, confusion entering her voice. It's a eating tool, Lyra explained quickly. You hold them like this. She made a gesture with her fingers. They taught me. It was hard, but I learned. Despite the terror of the moment, Do-hyun almost wanted to laugh. The most dangerous assassin in the galaxy was being told about chopsticks by her daughter. Cal looked around the kitchen. She looked at the apartment. She saw the blankets on the couch, the plate of leftover rice on the table, the cartoon still paused on the television screen, the small jacket that Soo-jin had bought for Lyra that afternoon, hanging on a chair. Her expression became complicated. Confusion, suspicion, and something else. Something that might have been wonder. You, she said, looking at Do-hyun again. You fed her? You took her in? A child not of your species? A stranger? Do-hyun nodded. He did not trust himself to speak. Why? Kyle demanded. What did you want from her? What payment did you expect? Nothing, Do-hyun said. I didn't want anything. She was hungry. She was scared. That was enough. Cal stared at him like he had spoken in a language she did not understand. At that moment, Soo-jin appeared in the hallway. She had been woken by the noise. She took one look at the tall silver assassin in the kitchen and froze in place. Oh God, she whispered. Lyra ran to her and grabbed her hand. It's okay, Soo-jin. This is my mother. She won't hurt you. I won't let her. The tiny alien girl stood there, holding hands with the human woman, glaring up at her deadly mother with defiant violet eyes. It would have been funny if it was not so terrifying. Kyle looked at the scene before her. Her daughter, healthy and clean, and dressed in warm human clothes. Her daughter, defending two primitive humans with her life. Her daughter safe and cared for after 8 cycles of captivity. Slowly, very slowly, she sheathed her blade. You, she said to Do-hyun and Soo-jin, you fed my daughter. You protected her. You showed her kindness. It was not a question, but both siblings nodded anyway. Kyle took a long, deep breath. When she spoke again, her voice was different. Still cold, but less sharp, like a blade being put away. Then I will not kill you tonight, but I will be watching, and if I find that you have lied, if I find that you have harmed her in any way. She did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. Do-hyun nodded. His legs felt weak. He thought he might fall down. I understand, he said quietly. Cal looked at her daughter. Something in her hard face finally cracked. She knelt down and pulled Lyra into her arms. She held her tightly, like she was afraid she might disappear again. My child, she whispered, my little star. I have been looking for you for so long. Lyra buried her face in her mother's shoulder. I knew you would come, Mother. I always knew. Do-hyun and Soo-jin stood there awkwardly, watching the reunion. They had no idea what would happen next. All they knew was that they had survived. For now, that was enough. The next hour was the strangest of Do-hyun's life. An alien assassin was sitting on his couch, holding her daughter in her lap. Lyra was talking rapidly, telling her mother everything that had happened. About the escape from the ship, about hiding in the rain, about being found by the human with the kind eyes. Cal listened in silence. Her golden eyes moved around the apartment, taking in every detail. Do-hyun could almost see her mind working, analyzing everything, looking for lies or traps. Soo-jin had made tea for everyone. It felt absurd to offer tea to a killer from another planet, but she did not know what else to do. Cal had looked at the cup with suspicion at first, then taken a small sip. Her expression did not change, but she drank the rest. And then Soo-jin braided my hair, Lyra was saying excitedly. See? Like this. She said I look beautiful. Cal touched her daughter's braids gently. Her fingers traced the pattern with something like wonder. This is a human style, she asked. Yes, Mother, humans do this to show care. Soo-jin told me. Cal looked at Soo-jin. The human woman flinched slightly under that golden gaze. You styled my daughter's hair? She seemed to like it, Soo-jin said nervously. I used to braid my friend's hair when I was young. It just felt natural to do it for her. Cal was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke again, her voice softer than before. On my world, grooming another's hair is a sign of deep trust. Only family members do this. Only those who share blood bonds. Sujin's eyes went wide. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I didn't mean to offend or... You did not offend, Kyle interrupted. You honored her. Without knowing our customs, you honored her in the way of our people. Silence fell over the room. Lyra snuggled closer to her mother, looking happy and content. Doyun finally gathered enough courage to speak. What happens now? Are you going to take Lyra and leave? Kyle looked at him. Her expression was hard to read. That was my plan, yes. I came here to rescue my daughter and eliminate any threats. But I find myself confused. Confused about what? Do-hyun asked. About you. About your kind. Kyle shifted slightly, holding Lyra closer. I have traveled to many worlds. I have met many species. Some are cruel, some are clever, some are dangerous, but I have never met a species like yours. What do you mean? Kyle seemed to struggle with her words. In the galaxy, resources are limited. Power is everything. Species compete for survival. The strong take from the weak. The weak serve the strong. This is the law. This is how things are. She gestured at the apartment around her. But your world is different. You found my daughter, a stranger, a creature not of your kind. You owed her nothing. She could give you nothing. By all logic, by all the rules I know, you should have ignored her, or captured her, or sold her to the highest bidder. There are many who would pay well for information about me. Do-hyun felt sick at the thought. That's horrible. That is reality, Kale said simply. Or so I believed. But you did none of those things. You fed her. You clothed her. You gave her warmth and safety. You asked for nothing in return. You expected nothing. She leaned forward, her golden eyes intense. Why? I must understand. What is your motivation? What do you gain? Do-hyun looked at Sujin. His sister looked back at him. Neither of them knew how to answer this question. It seemed so obvious to them, so natural. We don't gain anything, Do-hyun said finally. We just help, because it's right, because she needed it. But that makes no sense, Kyle insisted. Every action has a cost. Every choice uses resources. You spent your food, your time, your safety on a stranger. How can you justify this waste? It's not waste, Sujin said quietly. It's what makes us human. Kyle tilted her head. Explain. Sujin took a deep breath. Humans are not the strongest species. We can't run the fastest, or climb the highest, or survive in extreme places. Our bodies are fragile. We break easily. We die easily. Lyra nodded sadly. They only have one heart, Mother. Kale's expression flickered. One heart. How vulnerable. But we survived, Sujin continued. We survived because we help each other. From the very beginning, humans lived in groups. We took care of the old and the sick. We raised each other's children. We shared food when times were hard. That is how we made it this far. Not by being strong alone, but by being strong together. Cooperation for mutual benefit, Kale said. This I understand. But my daughter was not part of your group. She could not contribute. She only consumed. That doesn't matter, Do-hyun said. Maybe in your galaxy, you only help people who can help you back. But humans, we're different. When we see someone suffering, something inside us responds. We call it empathy, compassion. It's the ability to feel what another person feels, to understand their pain. And when we understand it, we want to stop it. Kyle was very still. She seemed to be processing this information carefully. You feel the pain of strangers? She asked slowly. Yes, Do-hyun said, all the time. When I saw Lyra hiding in the rain, I felt her fear. I felt her hunger. I didn't decide to help her. I just had to. There was no other choice that made sense. Lyra looked up at her mother. He gave me ramyun, Mother. It is a food made with noodles and soup. It is very delicious, and he gave it to me for free. No trade, no bargain, just kindness. Kyle closed her eyes. When she opened them again, something had changed. The coldness was still there, but it had cracked. Beneath it, Do-hyun could see something else, something that looked almost like sadness. I was not always like this, Kale said quietly. I was not always a hunter. Once, long ago, I was like my daughter, hopeful, trusting, believing in the good of others. She paused, her hand gently stroking Lyra's hair. Then the wars came. My world burned. My family was killed. I survived by becoming hard, by killing before being killed, by trusting no one. I thought that was strength. I thought that was the only way. She looked at Do-Yun with those golden eyes. But you are weak. By every measure of power in the galaxy, you are nothing. Your technology is primitive. Your bodies are fragile. Your weapons are simple. And yet, Do-Yun prompted, and yet you have something I lost long ago. Something I thought was weakness. You have the ability to care for strangers, to help without expecting reward, to see a scared child and feel her pain as your own. Kyle shook her head slowly. The galaxy thinks humans are primitive because you have not spread among the stars, because you have not built great empires or weapons of destruction. But perhaps they are measuring the wrong things. Perhaps the true measure of a species is not how much they can take, but how much they can give. Silence filled the room. Lyra was smiling, looking back and forth between her mother and the humans. I told them, Mother, she said happily. I told them they were strange, but strange is good. For the first time, something like a smile touched Kale's lips. It was small and uncertain, like a muscle that had not been used in years. But it was real. Yes, she said softly. Perhaps strange is very good indeed. Do-Yun felt something release in his chest. The tension that had been gripping him since Kale appeared began to fade. They had passed some kind of test. He did not fully understand what kind, but he knew they had passed it. So what now? Sujin asked carefully. Are you going to leave? Go back to your world? Kyle's expression became serious again. I cannot leave yet. The ones who took Lyra are still out there. They will know their ship is missing. They will come looking. If they find this planet, if they find you... She did not finish the sentence. They will come here? Do-Hyun asked, fear returning to his voice. Possibly, probably. They are criminals, but they are not stupid. They will search for Lyra. And if they find the humans who helped her, they will kill us, Sujin said flatly. Yes. Kal's voice was cold again, but this time the coldness was not directed at them. It was directed outward, at unseen enemies. But I will not allow this. You have protected my daughter. Now I will protect you. She stood up, lifting Lyra gently and setting her on the couch. I must go soon. I must hunt them before they hunt you. But first, I need to understand more about your world, about your people, about what makes you capable of such strange and wonderful kindness. Do-Hyun did not know what to say. An alien assassin wanted to understand humanity. Through him, through his sister, through the simple act of feeding a hungry child. It was terrifying. It was unbelievable. It was completely insane. But somehow, standing in his small apartment in Seoul, looking at the silver-skinned hunter and her violet-eyed daughter, Do-Hyun felt something he had not expected. He felt proud. Proud to be human. Proud to be strange. Proud to be the kind of creature who helps strangers without asking why. Maybe the galaxy was watching. Maybe they would learn something. Or maybe not. But either way, Do-Hyun knew one thing for certain. He would not have done anything differently. Not a single thing. Kyle did not leave that night. She stayed in the apartment, watching over her daughter as Lyra slept. The assassin sat in the corner of the room, perfectly still, her golden eyes never closing. Do-Hyun wondered if her kind needed sleep at all. He could not sleep either. Too much had happened. Too much was still happening. So he sat at the kitchen table, drinking cold tea and watching the sky outside begin to lighten with the approaching dawn. Sujin had finally gone to bed around 4 in the morning, too exhausted to stay awake any longer. But Do-Hyun remained, partly because he was too wired to sleep, partly because he did not want to leave Kyle alone in his home. Not that he could stop her if she decided to do something, but somehow sitting there felt like the right thing to do. Around 5 in the morning, Kyle stood and walked silently to the kitchen. Do-Hyun tensed, but she simply sat down across from him at the small table. You should rest, she said. Your body requires it. I can't sleep, Do-Hyun admitted. Too much on my mind. Kyle nodded slowly. I understand. The events of this day have been unusual. Unusual was one word for it. Insane was another. They sat in silence for a while. The city was waking up outside. The first sounds of traffic began to filter through the windows. Normal life continuing, unaware of the extraordinary things happening in this small apartment. Tell me about the ones who took Lyra, Do-Yun said finally. Who are they? Cal's expression darkened. They call themselves the Iron Circle, a criminal syndicate that operates across many star systems. They deal in weapons, slaves, information, anything that brings profit. Why did they take your daughter? Because of me. Kale's voice was heavy with guilt. I was once useful to them. I did work for them. Eliminations, retrievals, the kind of work that requires someone with my skills. But I tried to leave. I met Lyra's father. I wanted a different life, a peaceful life. She paused, her golden eyes distant with memory. They did not accept my resignation. When I refused to work for them, they came for my family. They killed my partner. They took my daughter. They told me if I ever wanted to see her again, I would do as they commanded. But you didn't, Do-Hyun said quietly. No, I did not. Kyle's voice hardened. I chose a different path. I chose to hunt them instead. One by one, I found them. One by one, I eliminated them. For 8 cycles, I have been cutting away at their organization, searching for my daughter. I have killed many, too many to count. Do-Hyun did not know what to say. The weight of those words hung in the air between them. I am not a good person, Kyle continued. I do not pretend to be. The things I have done, they cannot be forgiven. They cannot be undone. I am a weapon, forged in blood and fire. That is all I know how to be. She looked at him directly. That is why your kindness confuses me so deeply. You are not weapons. You are not killers. You are soft and weak and fragile. And yet you do things that I cannot understand. You help strangers. You comfort children who are not your own. You give without taking. Do-Hyun thought about her words carefully before responding. Maybe we're not so different, he said slowly. Humans have done terrible things too. We have wars. We have crime. We have people who hurt others for profit. Our history is full of darkness. Then why do you also have light? Kyle asked. How can both exist in the same species? I don't know, Do-Hyun admitted. Maybe that's just what it means to be alive, to have the capacity for both good and evil, to choose every day which one we want to be. He took a sip of his cold tea. When I found Lyra, I had a choice. I could have walked away. I could have called the authorities. I could have done nothing. But I chose to help, not because I'm a hero or a saint, just because it felt right. It felt like what I should do. Cal was silent for a long moment. On my world, she said finally, we have a saying, the strong survive, the weak perish. This is the natural order. But your world seems to have a different order. The kind survive, the cruel perish. Not always, not perfectly, but as an ideal, as something to strive for. Maybe that's why we haven't spread to the stars yet, Do-Hyun said with a small smile. We're still trying to figure out how to be kind to each other first. Kyle almost smiled at that. Almost. When I return to the wider galaxy, she said, I will have much to report. The humans are not what we thought. They are not primitives to be ignored. They are something else, something new. Good new or bad new? Kale considered. I am not sure yet. Perhaps both. Your capacity for kindness is remarkable, but kindness can be exploited. If the wrong powers learn of your nature, they may try to take advantage. They may see you as easy targets. Do-Hyun felt a chill at those words. And what would happen then? I do not know. Perhaps they would try to conquer you. Perhaps they would try to enslave you. Or perhaps, Kyle paused, perhaps they would underestimate you. As I did. She leaned forward. When I entered your home, I expected fear. I expected begging or attack. I expected the reactions I have seen from countless species across the galaxy. But you just stood there. You did not beg. You did not attack. You simply told the truth. You simply explained that you helped my daughter because she needed it. Kyle shook her head slowly. In that moment, I realized something. You were not weak. You were something far more dangerous. You were brave. Do-hyun laughed nervously. I was terrified. Yes, but you acted anyway. That is the definition of courage. Doing what is right even when you are afraid. This is a rare quality, human. Rarer than you know. The sun was rising higher now. Golden light streamed through the windows, catching the silver of Kyle's skin and making it glow. I must go soon, she said. The Iron Circle will be searching for their lost ship, their lost prisoner. I need to intercept them before they find this world, before they find you. Will you come back? Kale stood. I do not know. The hunt may take weeks, months, years. I have no way of knowing. She looked toward the living room, where Lyra was still sleeping on the couch. Love and pain mixed in her golden eyes. I will take Lyra with me. It is not safe for her to remain here. Not safe for her, and not safe for you. The longer she stays, the more danger you face. Do-hyun nodded. He understood. He did not like it, but he understood. There is something I must give you first, Kyle said. A gift, a token of my gratitude. She reached into her armor and pulled out a small device. It looked like a metal cube, covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly blue. This is a beacon, she explained. If you activate it, the signal will reach me no matter where I am in the galaxy. It will also reach others of my kind, allies, friends. If you are ever in danger that is beyond your ability to handle, use this. Help will come. Do-hyun took the device carefully. It was warm in his hand, humming with energy he did not understand. You're giving this to me? Why? Cal looked at him with those ancient, tired, dangerous golden eyes. Because you gave my daughter something far more valuable. You gave her hope. You reminded her that kindness exists, that strangers can be friends, that the universe is not only darkness and pain. She placed her hand on his shoulder. Her grip was strong, but gentle. I have lived a long time, human. I have seen many things, but I have never met a species quite like yours. You are weak and strong, cruel and kind, primitive and profound. You are a contradiction, and contradictions are always interesting. She stepped back. Take care of yourself, Park Do-hyun, and take care of your sister. You have both earned the protection of a hunter this day. That is no small thing. Do-hyun gripped the beacon tightly. Thank you, he said. And take care of Lyra. She's a good kid. Kyle's expression softened, just slightly. Yes, she is. And she is alive because of you. The assassin turned and walked toward the living room, silent as a shadow. In a few hours, she and her daughter would be gone, vanishing into the stars. But the beacon would remain, and with it, a connection to a galaxy that Do-hyun had never known existed. A galaxy that was now, for better or worse, aware of Earth, aware of humanity, aware of the strange, fragile, impossibly kind creatures who lived there. The morning sun was bright and warm as Kale prepared to leave. She had woken Lyra gently, and the little girl was now sitting on the couch, rubbing sleep from her violet eyes. She looked healthier than when Do-hyun had first found her. The food and rest had done her good. Soo-jin had woken up and made breakfast for everyone. It felt strange, cooking rice and eggs for an alien assassin and her daughter. But Soo-jin had learned something important in the last day. Strange was not always bad. Sometimes strange was wonderful. Lyra ate her breakfast slowly, looking around the small apartment with sad eyes. She knew she was leaving. She knew she might never come back. I like this place, she said quietly. I like your world. It feels safe. It's not always safe, Do-hyun admitted. We have our own problems, our own dangers. But you have kind people, Lyra said. That makes it safe. The safest place in the universe is not a fortress or a ship. The safest place is with people who care about you. Do-hyun and Soo-jin looked at each other. This little alien girl, who had been through so much horror, still believed in kindness, still valued it above all else. There was something beautiful about that. Cal stood by the window, watching the city below. Her armor had changed somehow during the night. It looked less threatening now, more like ordinary clothing. Do-Yun realized she was trying not to attract attention. "The ship is ready," Cal said without turning around. "We should leave soon, before the city becomes too crowded." Lyra put down her chopsticks. She had finally mastered the skill, and she was clearly proud of it. She stood up from the table and walked toward Do-Hyun. "I want to say thank you," she said, "for everything, for finding me, for feeding me, for not being scared of me." "I was definitely scared," Do-Hyun said with a small laugh. "Maybe, but you didn't act scared. That's what matters." Lyra reached into her pocket and pulled out something. It was a small stone, pale blue with swirls of silver running through it. "This is from my home world. My father gave it to me when I was very young. He said it would protect me." She held it out to Do-Hyun. "I want you to have it." Do-Hyun shook his head. "I can't take that. It's special to you. It's from your father." "That's why I want you to have it," Lyra insisted. "You protected me when I had no one. You are like family now. Family shares important things." Do-Hyun looked at Kale for guidance. The assassin nodded slightly. "Take it," she said. "Among our people, refusing a gift from a child is a great insult." Do-Hyun accepted the stone carefully. It was warm in his palm, warmer than it should be. The silver swirls seemed to move when he looked at them closely. "Thank you, Lyra. I'll keep it safe." Lyra smiled, that small, shy smile that Do-Hyun had come to recognize. Then she ran to Sujin and hugged her tightly. "Thank you for braiding my hair," she said. "Thank you for the clothes. Thank you for being nice." Sujin hugged her back, blinking away tears. "You take care of yourself, okay? Eat well, stay warm, and don't let anyone push you around." Lyra laughed. "My mother is the scariest person in 3-star systems. No one pushes me around." Cal walked over to stand beside her daughter. For a moment, she just looked at the two humans who had changed so much in such a short time. "I have a final gift to give," she said. She reached into her armor and pulled out a small data device. "This contains information about the wider galaxy, star maps, language files, basic technology guides. It is not much, but it may help your people prepare for what is coming." "What is coming?" Do-Hyun asked. "Change," Cal said simply. "Your world has been hidden for a long time, ignored, forgotten. But that will not last forever. Someday the galaxy will come to you. When that day arrives, it would be better if you were ready." She handed the device to Sujin. "You are a healer, yes? A person of knowledge?" Sujin nodded. "I'm studying to be a doctor." "Then you will know what to do with this information. Study it, learn from it, share it with others you trust, but be careful. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will believe." Sujin held the device like it was made of glass. "I'll be careful, I promise." Kyle nodded. Then she did something unexpected. She bowed. It was a small bow, just a slight bend of her head and shoulders. But coming from someone as proud and dangerous as her, it meant everything. "I have traveled far," she said. "I have killed many. I have seen the worst that the universe has to offer. But in this small apartment, on this primitive world, I found something I thought was lost forever. I found kindness. I found hope. I found humans." She straightened up. "The galaxy will hear of this. I will make sure of it. The humans are not to be ignored. The humans are not to be dismissed. They are something new, something valuable, something worth protecting." Do-Hyun did not know what to say. He just stood there, holding the stone from Lyra and the beacon from Kyle, feeling like his whole world had shifted. "Thank you," he managed finally, "for not killing us." Kyle's lips twitched. It might have been a smile. "The night is still young. Do not tempt fate." Lyra giggled. "Mother is making a joke. She never makes jokes. You must be very special." Kyle took her daughter's hand. "We must go now. The journey is long, and there is much to be done." They walked to the door. Lyra looked back one more time, her violet eyes filled with tears. "I will never forget you," she said. "Never. You are my first human friends, and you will always be in my heart." "Both hearts?" Do-Hyun asked with a weak smile. Lyra laughed through her tears. "Both hearts. Always." And then they were gone. Kyle opened the door, and they stepped out into the hallway. Doyun and Sujin followed them outside, watching as they walked down the stairs and out of the building. In the alley behind the apartment, there was a shimmer in the air, a distortion, like heat waves rising from pavement. The outline of something large and invisible became briefly visible. A ship, an alien ship, hidden right in the middle of Seoul. Kale and Lyra walked toward it. A ramp appeared from nowhere, and they climbed aboard. At the top, Lyra turned and waved one last time. Then the ramp closed. The shimmer intensified, and with a sound like distant thunder, the ship rose into the sky and vanished into the clouds. Doyun and Sujin stood in the alley, staring at the empty sky. "Did that really just happen?" Sujin whispered. Doyun looked at the stone in one hand and the beacon in the other. Both were real. Both were solid. Both were proof of something incredible. "Yeah," he said, "it really happened." They stood in silence for a long time. The city continued around them. Cars honked. People shouted. Life went on. But everything was different now. They knew things that no other humans knew. They had connections to a galaxy that no one else could imagine. They carried objects from another world. "What do we do now?" Sujin asked. Doyun thought about it. He thought about Lyra and her hopeful smile. He thought about Kyle and her cold respect. He thought about the galaxy out there, full of wonders and horrors. "I don't know," he admitted. "But I think we just keep being human. We keep being kind. We keep helping people who need it. That's what got us this far. That's what impressed a killer from the stars." He looked at his sister and smiled. "We showed the galaxy what humans are made of. Not with weapons or technology, just with a cup of ramyun and a warm blanket. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all we ever needed." Sujin smiled back. The most dangerous assassin in 3-star systems, and she was impressed by chopsticks. They both laughed. It felt good to laugh. It felt human. High above the earth, invisible to all sensors, Kale's ship raced toward the stars. Lyra was sleeping in a comfortable bed, dreaming of rice and soup and kind human eyes. And Kale sat at the controls, composing a message. A report, a recommendation. When it was finished, she sent it across the galaxy to every ally and contact she had. The message was simple. Earth, reclassify. Species demonstrates unexpected potential. They are kind without reason. They help without reward. They are weak in body but strong in spirit. Recommend observation. Recommend respect. Recommend protection. The humans are strange. But strange is very good indeed. Far away on a small planet, in a small apartment, in a small city, 2 humans sat together and watched the sunrise. They did not know it yet, but they had changed the galaxy. 1 cup of ramyun at a time,